Kathy's brazenness knew no bounds. Once more when she trespassed on my property the moment I took control, this time seeking control of my access to the lake. She felt that entitlement, intimidation, and HOA power would coerce obedience, but she breathtakingly misunderstood the planning, legal know-how, and strategic planning I had prepared. What followed was a clear lesson in the consequences of brazen overreach. It was mid-morning when Kathy arrived, branded with several enforcers and HOA authority, to be exact. She demanded immediate compliance, insisting that my lakefront access be ceded to her and her HOA's project plans. Her audacity was bred from past successes where fear and intimidation bullied less prepared neighbors. She hoped the same tactics would work. Here, I remained calm, weighing out the situation in its entirety. The land and lake access were legally mine, verifiable through deeds, survey records, and state property rights. Security cameras covered every approach, while my perimeter measures prevented any unauthorized movement. Every potential threat vector and legal aspect was addressed. Kathy began to threaten fines, lawsuits, and manufactured HOA regulations. She attempted to intimidate compliance, secure in her brazenness being enough. Her enforcers, observing my calm and authoritative demeanor, vacillated. Kathy, sensing resistance, increasingly frustrated and hostile, I addressed her directly, clearly outlining the legal protections of private lake access, trespassing, and harassment, with each word infused with authority and knowledge, laying out arguments in sequence and stripping her of any bargaining power. The brazenness she relied on intimidation was no longer a factor in the face of preparation, documentation, and unwavering determination. Her agents, once confident, were now derailed. They realized that the bid to intimidate compliance had been miscalculated, and their brashness was landing them in legal and public danger. Kathy's own attitude shifted from aggression to panic, her previous confidence undermined by the synergy of authority and strategic preparedness. She had misjudged. Neighbors gather, drawn by the commotion, witness firsthand the impact of unbridled audacity. Kathy's pattern of brazenness and privilege, which had ventured many, was rendered powerless by preparation, familiarity with the law, and the willing display of authority. Her attempts at manipulation were unsuccessful. I moved to seal the perimeter, record the event as a whole, and offer legal protection. Videotape, testimony, and quick notification of law enforcement created a record Kathy and her agents were unable to refute. Her blatant crossing of my lakefront boundary was now an indefeasible issue of trespass and harassment. By afternoon, Kathy retreated, muttering threats and complaints. Her audacity had collided with preparedness, strategy, and authority, and it had failed spectacularly. The lakefront remained fully under my control. The property, secure, and the HOA's influence diminished. Cedar Pines residents witnessed yet another example of the futility of aggression when met with foresight and capability. Legal consequences for Kathy and her operatives were inevitable. Trespass, harassment, and interference with private property were documented and escalated to authorities, ensuring that audacity met accountability. Cedar Pines learned once more that courage, when inadvertently used, is self-destructive. That night, reflecting on what had transpired, the lesson was clear. Entitlement and boldness are nothing without preparation, skill, and authority. Kathy's attempt to acquire my lake access not only failed, but left her vulnerable to legal and public criticism. Cedar Pines residents saw firsthand that brazen aggression, when countered with preparedness and tactical acumen, is powerless, and those people who rely solely on courage are on their way to disaster.